Hey, Armin here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
And I'm Frank Mills, and hey, welcome to the show today. We've got another great show for you. First of all, we're going to talk about Program 6 of Vince Gironda's Master Series, so we'll be digging into that. And then in the second part of the show, we're going to be talking about the benefits of dark meat poultry. Some people, a little skeptical about dark meat. We're going to talk about why it is, why it's good, I guess, right, Armin?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's kind of ridiculous. So.
That's right. So, I just want to make sure that we thank everybody for watching and listening. We're getting your feedback. We're getting, emails and communication comments on YouTube. So thank you for that. We appreciate it. And we enjoy doing the show. So thank you so much. And I know NSP appreciates you watching and listening as well. All right. So let's get started, Armin. What's involved in Program 6 in the Master Series by Vince Gironda?
Okay, so at this point, as he's kind of coaching people through his Master Series, he keeps making changes to the regimen, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And, the nutrition, he does make changes in nutrition in each one of these. I just haven't gotten too much into this because some of them are pretty similar and we've covered a lot of those. So that's why I'm not including that in all these different ones, unless it's something different. But with this series here, he's talking about developing muscle. Basically, since it's something we've talked about in the past. He talks about instinctive training, which is really interesting. His version of tempo. And then this is where he promotes on this particular series the 10-8-6-15 routine of sets and reps. So, which, a lot of people aren't really sure how this works. And so I think I'll give them some better understanding of what's involved with it. And it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it does. So I'm curious, exactly what did Vince say about developing muscle?
So again, we kind of touched on it in the past, but he basically says there's two parts. You have to develop capillaries, okay, to expand the muscle tissue and more nerve pathways. Or another way of saying it is better and stronger nerve impulses to the muscle. So this is important for stimulation to make the body want to adapt to stress. Now, in his opinion, also to acquire larger muscles, you must increase the intensity of work that is done in a given period of time, which we talked about before. So this is where he's talking about, lifting a heavy weight is great. That's another form of intensity, but also performing at a faster pace is another good form of what's called progressive resistance. So you shorten the time of training, all right, and then the overload principle. What's important here is how much work you get done in a given amount of time. So it's they're very similar, but he has them distinctively noted so that you're establishing what you're trying to accomplish in each of your workouts.
Interesting. You mentioned instinctive training, Armin. What did Vince have to say about that?
He didn't believe in it at all. His viewpoint was, if you knew how to do things instinctively, you wouldn't even need a teacher. And so that's how you devise a workout that's why people need coaches to devise workout programs, because they instinctively don't know. He said that the science is not proven conclusively whether instinctive is acquired or innate, learned, or a combination of both. So he just was not a big fan of that. And he also said that instinctive training it's the animal's way of survival. If we still had this natural faculty, we really wouldn't be eating synthetic foods and contaminated spray foods to do that.
Right.
So he used an example like this of like Charles Atlas. Back in the day, every little magazine would have this little ad in there for Charles Adams. And
Right.
it was
Oh
all
yeah.
about the story. As you know, the story goes, the big guy comes up, kicks sand in the face, and takes the girl.
That's
All right.
right. Yeah.
Well, instinctively, the thing is, you don't want that to happen. But ego wise is another part of that whole thing because there's more to it than that. So that's where you kind of use it as an example for instinctive
Yeah.
training.
And I think everybody remembers those ads if you're,
Oh,
around our
I,
age or right.
oh,
Seeing a
I
little
read them,
cartoon
man.
drawing. Yeah.
It was the guy was very successful with it. It was just amazing. He
Oh
got it
yeah.
done.
Well, the idea or the thought that we still remember it just shows how successful it was because, you only remember things that are impactful. So it's pretty important. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. What did Vince say about tempo?
So, like in his viewpoint of workout tempo, he wanted to have evenly spaced out sets. So,
Hmm.
time wise, and so he wanted you to do things without any distractions. And so you move from
Right.
one exercise to the next and have complete concentration of what you're going to do next. You go to the next weight, pick it up, you're going to go to the next set. So just consistently keeping a pace going. So, in his viewpoint, doing a prescribed number of sets and reps without tempo is not going to produce the satisfaction. You're not going to get the satisfaction and feeling of accomplishment that you can get as you see the progress being made by being really decisive, moving to the next exercise, focus on what you're doing. That's what he would consider to be tempo. Now,
Right. Right.
with that being said, he also said, be aware that when you're getting this fulfillment of getting success, seeing results, don't feel like adding more work is going to be better, and then basically overtraining, where he calls
Right.
overtonus.
Hmm.
So he said he's really emphatic about it in that particular chapter, saying, don't do that. Focus on this, maximize it, and again, keep it short. But as you get stronger, then add the weight, but keep that pace up. So that was
Hmm.
some of the key takeaways I thought regarding that.
That's pretty interesting. Now,
Yeah.
Armin, I did have a question for you. How does the 10-8-6-15 routine work?
All right. So at this stage, he's adjusting the rep scheme once again, from the last session. And
Hmm.
so what do you suggest here? And this one gets a little more complicated for people. So that's probably why you don't hear about it as much because there's a kind of a formula that some people agree with, don't agree with. But what
Right.
you would
Right.
do with the 10-8-6-15 is your first set, you're going to do 10 reps with 50% of your maximum. So obviously, it's not going to be a real heavy weight, but he wants you to
Hmm.
really focus on getting those 10 reps. And so then the second set is going to be 8 reps with 75% of your maximum. So you're going to add more weight. And then the third set is just going to be 6 reps of your 100% of your maximum. So now that's kind of misleading because nobody can do 6 reps of a 1 rep max.
Hmm.
So, you know, there's a there's a little way of approaching that. So basically, he's just saying find a heavy weight you can use that you could barely get 6 reps with. So use that. So it was kind of misleading when he said that, but that is what it is. That's how he had it in there. Now the fourth set, okay, which is your last one, is 15 reps, and then you drop down to 35% of your maximum. So there's a lot of calculations involved. Obviously the first time through it's going to be pretty messy because you have no idea. You don't have a great idea what you're going to use, and you're going to have to
Right.
figure out because you may go over the rep scheme, you may not make it, that kind of thing. But the purpose is to track it and then continue to refine that whole strategy. But
Well, it
that's
definitely
how it
seems.
works.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely seems like it can be very confusing, right?
Yeah. So now, I guess with that being said, to determine the percentages, I would just suggest you do a Google search because there's a lot of different calculators that you can find, which I was amazed how many there are that tell you how to calculate a 1 rep max based on what you're using now. So that'll
Oh,
help
okay.
you to better understand your starting point. And again, there's like 4 or 5, maybe 6 of them, and probably more than that in a nutshell. But that would be the easiest way to me to knock that confusion out. Look up the calculator, put in, let's say you're doing dumbbell presses, you're getting 10 reps with 60-pound dumbbells. You would just put this into the calculator system, and it would tell you what your 1 rep max is, and then you would just recalculate from there, and then you put together your training session.
Gotcha.
So again, like on the 6 rep thing, bottom line would be it's not going to be 100% of your 1 rep max. So pick a weight that you feel you can get a good quality 6 reps with, because you're gonna be tired anyways. So you have to guess there. But once you get that figured out, then you'll just tweak it over time. And the other thing is in between each set, he was really emphatic about no more than 60 seconds rest, and to do hyperventilating breathing in between to improve your oxygen levels. So that's where you bend over, put your hands on your knees, inhale through the pursed lips, exhale through the nose to load oxygen in between the sets. So you get done with the set, you drop the weight and start to do the hyperventilating to reload your oxygen, so you get ready for the next set within that 60-second time period. So it's a lot more technical, bottom line.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. So how did he split up the routine?
So with this strategy, his thought was, let's do 3 upper body and then 2 lower body workouts per week, and only want to add weight once per week to reduce using bad form. So he was like, don't be trying to add weight each workout. He says, focus on your form and everything. Then after a week, then look to add weight, because he didn't want your form to get sloppy. And then when it came to abdominals, he just felt like you should do the abdominal training only on your leg days. So that was another thing that he had noted in there.
Wow. Armin, how many exercises in this routine?
So that was another interesting point, because you're doing upper body and then you do lower body. So he would just have 1 exercise per muscle group, with working all the sets to failure, again, with good intensity, good focus and concentration and form. So it's just 1 exercise. So that was kind of a nice simplified way to approach it. Then after you learn it, then you could probably start to experiment more with maybe swapping out an exercise the next time you train, and using the same strategy. So that would be something I would do after a period of time.
Well, knowing Vince, I'm sure he had a certain list of exercises that he would recommend or suggest. So did he suggest certain ones? I'm sure he did, right?
Yeah. And so it's always interesting how he determines what exercises he wants to list on the program, because you're trying to figure out what he's thinking. So in this one, he starts off with the chest, and so he does the wide grip neck press. So that's a bench press, but you just press to the neck. And then he goes to the lats. He does a 45-degree pulley pull to work the teres major, and then he goes to delts, which is the barbell upright row. And he had specifics about how to execute that. And then for triceps, he did 2 dumbbell pullovers, which I felt was pretty interesting on that selection. And the bicep, he did what he calls thumb under curls. So you kind of have a hook grip when you're curling the dumbbells up. And then he didn't really say anything for forearms like he normally does. So he's probably giving those a break. And then for the thighs, it was basically, the front squat. And then you have calves. He just did an alternate calf heel raise. So that was kind of it. So obviously, you could substitute other things in there. I think for the thighs, though, I would probably do a little bit more because that's a weaker area for me. I would probably do a little more from the standpoint of that rep scheme. So
well,
I'll probably do a couple of rounds of it would be my
thoughts, but did he have a suggestion on how long that you would do this routine?
Again, these are going to vary. So it didn't really state. So again, I'm going to go with the same answer that I've been going with, is probably a 12 to 16 week period, depending on how you're responding. And if you're not making, if you're making great gains, hang on to it, keep going. Because if you do these different sections, it could be 2 or 3 years of different change up of training. But once you get kind of bored with it, it becomes kind of stale, then that's when you definitely want to go to the next section.
Okay. Well, as we kind of wrap up the segment here, any final thoughts on program 6 of the Master Series?
Well, based on what I got from it, Vince felt like the success of the program really depends on, doing the exercises outlined with no additions. So don't be adding more stuff in, because he felt like that would affect your recovery. Use maximum form, making the muscles burn, and constantly strive to shorten the rest periods. Keep challenging yourself, keep increasing that intensity more than focus on adding the weight. As you get good at it, then obviously you want to add the weight, but he always wanted great form. And so other things that I would suggest is on some of these exercises, like I mentioned earlier, you may want to plug in different movements instead of, so for example, instead of doing the neck press, maybe after a period of time, start integrating the dumbbell chest press, as another alternative, and do the 10, 8, 6, 15. Like for the back, he just has a pull down, but that doesn't get the width, the thickness of the back. So maybe throw a row movement in there, like cable rows or machine row or bent over rows. And then laterals, maybe change up the kind of, put some laterals in there instead of doing an upright row. Close grip bench press instead of doing the dumbbell tricep extensions. Doing the drag curl versus the thumb up curl. Leg press or hack squat instead of having to just do the, the front squat. And then standing or seated calf raise. So that would be some things that I would probably incorporate to really use this program and get a lot of different angles to the muscles and different movements.
Gotcha. Well, a lot of good information, Armin. As always, we appreciate it. And we're going to take a quick break. Stand by for a quick break from, a quick word from NSP Nutrition. And Armin and I will be right back with the benefits of dark meat poultry. So stand by.
Hey, and welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
And I'm Frank Mills. And hey, before we get into the benefits of dark meat poultry, Armin and I, we were talking a little bit yesterday and talking about certain products from NSP that Armin takes, that I take, some things I don't take that Armin does, vice versa. But the one thing that we started talking about was the Probiotic by NSP and how well it works. And how good it is for you. Armin, I thought you might want to elaborate. I mean, this is a product that, to me is life-changing. It's something that I think everybody should be taking is a good probiotic. What do you think?
Yeah, if you want to have good gut health, help the absorption of your food and your nutrients, I'm a big fan of it as well. I've been doing probiotics for a long time. This has 40 billion in it, so you've got a lot of good bacteria in there, which again helps to build the gut microbiome, keep that good bacteria in there, and then also the flora part of it. So, because not everybody eats perfect. So this helps keep the gut functioning and keeps that immune system boosted. And again, the bottom line is you're going to absorb your nutrients better because that the things are functioning the right way in your system as far as the digestion. So I highly recommend it. I think and it also, one other thing, it does make you real regular when it comes to going to the bathroom. And that's a good thing as well.
Absolutely. And, the thing I've noticed too is since I've taken it, energy level is up, made me feel better, able to process food better. So I encourage everybody to check out the NSP Probiotic 40, take a shot, check it out. You'll be glad that you did. So, all right. So that being said, let's talk about the benefits of dark meat poultry. Now, a lot of people, especially in this day and age, we're seeing a chicken breast, right? We're seeing wings, but we just want the drumsticks. We don't want the wing part. I see a lot of guys order this, or the nuggets that, are already pre-made of white meat. And I thought this was a really interesting topic. And I was kind of curious, Armin, why you decided on this specifically.
All right. So it's just annoying to me because I'm really pretty much sick and tired of all the nutrition people and all these experts like, well, lean cuts of meat, just eat the chicken
Right.
breast, and I'm just like, yeah, really? Because there's other nutrients you're missing, and
Right.
it's not that big. It's not that big a deal. They act like it's a big deal, and I'm just really amazed by that. But that's what some people,
Yeah.
they feel like, oh, it's a game changer, and we're going to talk about that, and I disagree.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, even growing up, in my days of growing up, when we had fried chicken or when we had
Mm,
baked chicken or whatever, you used the whole chicken. You use,
oh yeah.
the breast and the leg and all like that. So you were eating dark meat. I ate a lot of dark meat when I was a kid, but you're right, that stigma of white
Uh,
versus dark, it's out there and it's kind of moved me away from eating a lot of dark meat. It really has. So I'm kind of curious, and I'm sure everybody else is, on the differences between white and dark meat. Maybe you can help us out there.
all right. Well, some of the experts, they feel like, well, white meat has more protein, uh,
Hmm.
but really it doesn't. I mean, it's minimal. For example, you have 3 grams less of protein in dark meat versus white, but that's only for 3 ounces. Okay,
Hmm.
so you're giving up a couple things of protein, but at the end of the day, how much of a deal breaker is that, and how much more critical is it? So,
Hmm.
again, because you're also missing out on other nutrients we're going to talk about that dark meat has that you're not going to get from white meat. So
Right. Right.
everything, it's just like what Vince said, use Mother Nature and balance it, and just eat
Hmm.
real food versus taking this out and taking that out. And again, this is what
Right.
affects your gut microbiome, is taking out nutrients that your body needs. So anyway,
Hmm. Well, I am kind of curious, and I'm sure everybody else is too. Maybe you could tell us some of the things that um, the nutrition gurus do not like about dark meat.
yeah, well, it's just again, I'm just like, okay, I just got to roll my eyes. But yeah, obviously because dark meat, it has more fat. So, oh
Hmm.
yeah, I don't want that extra fat. And so because it has more fat, it has more calories. And then you got your calorie counting people. So I get that. But, you know, it's a whopping 27 calories per 3 ounces difference between white meat and dark meat. So we're not
Hmm.
talking a whole lot here. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
then when you get down the fat lane and they're all, oh, you got less fat. Well, that's another thing. They make it sound like it's a big deal, but again, it's only 4 grams difference of fat versus for 3 ounces. So you have 4 grams extra fat. So that's 9 kilocalories. That's where the 27 is going to come from. All
Hmm.
right. But at the same time, and it's saturated fat. So they're all about, get rid of saturated fat, get rid of saturated fat. It's like, it's not that much. Just be realistic with it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's kind of how I'm doing with it. And so, the other thing is they'd say, well, white meat has more B vitamins, specifically niacin, and then like which is vitamin B3, and then peroxidine, which is vitamin B6. It's
Hmm.
not a big spread on that, but that's what they're going to use to prop it up to be superior meat choice. That's why I'm having to rant. Is like I'm amazed by some of these arguments.
Right. Right. Well, I can tell you why I like dark meat, or to mix it even is, like on the grill, I have a rotisserie.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll put a whole chicken on there, man. And,
yeah.
the
Me
legs
too.
have dark meat in there and there's, white and dark mix there. It's really good. And a lot of people I know, like when they go to the grocery store, you have options to buy it fried, or you can buy a rotisserie chicken in a box, like
Yeah,
ready to go, right? And a lot of
yep.
people buy that because they do like that dark meat. I'm kind of curious, Armin, why do you like dark meat?
Well, but really, honestly, it tastes better. I mean, a hell of a
Yeah,
lot
I
better. And
agree.
it's more,
I agree.
it's more moist. You know, the white meat just gets dry so fast. Okay, but if you're eating the whole
Absolutely.
chicken, you get the best of both worlds. You have both types of meat, so you're not really again giving up a whole lot. So here's the thing about dark meat. Okay, it contains higher levels of zinc, which help make testosterone.
Right,
You've got
right,
more iron. You got more iron in it. You have vitamin C. You got riboflavin. You got thiamine, and then it's got a higher level of B12 than white meat. And B12 is really important for recycling your amino acids. So, why kick it out and why not have it? Is
right,
what my argument is part of your complete meal plan versus oh, I don't want that because of it's got some extra fat in it and extra calories. Just mix them both together is what my argument is. Or it's okay. I mean, I love having a big plate of chicken wings. And
right,
I love having all drumsticks, okay? Because I'm getting protein, I'm getting fats. And the
right,
thing is, when you have a little more fat, you fill up quicker.
right,
So
right.
what the hell? So
Well, when I have wings, I like the wing, which has dark
oh
meat in
yeah.
it, and then I like the drumstick too. So yeah, so that you can mix it up. Based on what we've learned, we're kind of really splitting hairs on which is better, right?
In my opinion, yes. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I still favor dark meat in general because of how it tastes, how it makes me feel. Because
Hmm.
you also feel good because of the amount of the extra nutrients you're getting from it. You're not getting from the white meat, and I
Right,
got that
right,
little more fat in there, and I just think it's really a great way to go. So, and I just overall I feel like some of these nutritionists make a big deal out of nothing on these
right,
differences. And I mean, if you're eating a good combination of food and you're having staying within that calorie balance that they feel like
right,
you have to have and stuff, then that's fine. But don't be going, take that dark meat out. You don't want that because
right,
that's
right.
just to me it's ridiculous.
All right. So I have a question for you. There are people out there that are anti-skin. Some that enjoy eating the skin, whether it's fried or rotisserie or however you prepare it. They like it crunchy.
Yeah.
They like, uh, however. But I'm kind of curious. Are there any benefits to eating the skin?
Yeah. So when you have the skin, you're gonna 100 grams of chicken skin, you're basically gonna get about 3.3 grams of glycine, which will
Hmm.
it's help your skin, your muscles, it helps keep them healthy and strong. So glycine is a good thing to have.
Okay.
Also, the you're gonna it contains around 55% water, 35% connective tissue, but this is where you get collagen from. So that's a good thing. Collagen is another type of protein. It's not a complete protein, but this helps with keeping your skin full. And the more
Mm-hmm.
collagen you have in your system, the less likely you're going to wrinkle. So I think it's a great thing. Now, the arguments about not eating the skin, I get it, is that's where any chemicals can be absorbed in the fat and will be contained in the fat. So if you're really concerned about it, then as far as eating the skin, then my strategy is okay, don't eat the skin that's around the breast area. That's the
Right.
denser skin, but feel free to have the skin from the thighs, the dark meat,
Right.
the wings, the and also the drumstick. So
Mm-hmm.
that I think is a good way to get some extra collagen in your system in a very easy manner, and it tastes good. So don't get too bent
I
out of shape on
I agree with you. Well, being a guy like me, I grew up, again, eating the whole chicken, and we
it.
ate it in
Yeah,
a lot of different ways. My
yeah.
mom back then probably didn't prepare it the best way, the Crisco lard frying stuff.
Same
And,
here.
and
Same
right.
story. Yep.
So I grew up with that. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. Do you think it matters how you cook poultry? Are there certain options that are better than others?
Well, in my opinion, if you're watching your carbs,
Mm-hmm.
then I'd recommend not deep frying and adding flour and that kind of stuff. So
Right,
from
right.
that perspective, you watch your carbs, okay? Because that's really and it's really not that much more beneficial to you. So there's some new things you can do. My daughter figured this out, which is really cool, is using an air fryer to create fried chicken with spices and stuff. Man, it was awesome. So I felt like if you want to have fried chicken, that's the easiest way to do it with the air fryer. Now, also with the air fryer, you know, it's just like a rotisserie type situation. The fat's going to run off, so it is going to affect not having as much fat in there, which depending on what you're needing, it could be good and bad. But if you're concerned about the fat content, then it's going to drip off as you're air frying it. So I like using that, and it tastes really good. I mean, what I do though is I like, if my daughter's not going to do it, her formula, then I just use some Frank's Red Hot sauce, and I roll it in that, and I put that in the air fryer, so it's a little bit more spicy.
Right.
Having the wings, man, it tastes really, really good. So that's just another way I go about it, and I really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, another way where I grew up having it was baked. You can bake the chicken; it keeps a lot of those juices and fat in it, which is really good too. So, yeah. So, well, you know, there's a lot of options out there, but we're running out of time. So, any final thoughts?
Well, you know, naturally, just don't be afraid to put dark meat poultry into your meal plan. There's a lot of good nutritious benefits to it, and you know you're going to get more out of your food choices, and this is going to help your gut microbiome. You're going to get the zinc and the other things we talked about from the dark meat chicken. And you're going to get a little more fat, but it's not that much. Okay, and you're going to fill up probably a little quicker, which is going to offset that as well.
Right.
So just include it in your meal plan, or just have it by itself. There's nothing wrong with that either. I really like dark meat chicken because it's moist. You know, it does take a little longer to cook, but it also reheats up nicely. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, a lot of great information, and you know, we rely on the audience for information, so we're encouraging you to comment on the show, to, you know, if you have a topic, if you have a suggestion, a question, we want to hear from our audience, don't we, Armin?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yep. Keep it up.
Absolutely. And, you know, the best way that you can do that is, like I said, you can comment right in the YouTube section under the show format that you have in question. If you have a topic or suggestion for the show, maybe you'd like us to cover a certain topic that we haven't covered yet, we'd be happy to do that. And you can email us at support@nspnutrition.com. And, you know, Armin and I will be glad to do that. Armin's on YouTube and will respond to your comments as well. And, you know, we appreciate the comments and suggestions and topics that we've gotten so far too, right, Armin?
Oh, yeah. It's real helpful. And I think it's probably going to help a lot more people as well, because if somebody has that question, there's probably a lot of other people who have the same question or want a little more clarification. So,
absolutely. Well, I know NSP Nutrition thanks you. Armin and I thank you for joining us today. Whether you're listening or watching, we do appreciate it. And join Armin and I next week for a brand new episode of the NSP Nutrition Show. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP Show. Go to nspnutrition.com, where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget, you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP Show at the checkout. Catch you next time.